Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to askNK. Today we're looking at Misc. Misc is a brand new tool from Artifast Mirror, and it is a very interesting tool as this actually takes advantage of the geometry nodes to help you create things faster. Currently they're doing a 15% sale, so for anyone who would like to get this, link is going to be in the description. At the same time, there's also a couple of percentage sales that's going on right now. If you'd like to catch up with that as well and save up on that book, links to that is also going to be in the description. So with that said, let's dive directly into Blender and take a look at what Misc is like and the kind of things that you can do with it. With Blender simply open, how you work with this is super easy. Starting off, we are going to add a simple grid, so let's get that right in here, and we would go ahead and subdivide this. So if you have the add-on installed, which you can do by simply going over to Edit, go for the preference and install it, you would notice that once you tap N on the keyboard that you have the Misc right here. The Misc is divided into 3 different tools which deals with the scatter, the building, and also the design tool. Right here, which is above the scattering tool, you'd notice that you have a couple of assets that are divided into 3 categories: the rock, the garden, tree, and also asset. So if you like to instance things across your model, what you can do is as easy as going over to where you have the categories. And in this case, I'm just going to go to the gardens and let's pick one of these. So let's get the southern crab and click on append, click on OK, and we have that there. So to instance things is as easy as selecting the surface, click on the instance tool, scroll all the way down and add the object. So right here, we're going to select the grass. And since we're using the southern crabgrass, we're just going to click on that and we can start increasing the density. So in this case, we can make the density 1000, play with the scale how we want. And from here, you can start making changes. In this case, once you take a look at what we have here, you would notice that they're all facing the same place and you might want to randomize that to your liking. Now, once you're done with the randomization, if you're thinking about making changes to the surface itself, say maybe you like to sculpt it, of course you can. So we can tap F on the keyboard, tap G, and we can move parts. Actually, we can even sculpt basic sculpting here, and we can do things like so. So we can also sculpt on parts like this, and we can get this however we want. In certain cases, you might also want to paint weights, and how you do that is also very easy. So you can click from the drop down, go over to the weight painting, tap F on the keyboard to reduce that. And from here, we can paint the weight how we want. And to append multiple stuff here is also very easy. So in this case, what we would like to do is have the surface selected, go all the way up, and we would get the tulip. So let's try out with the tulip. Click on append, click on OK, have that there, have the surface selected, and then click on the instancing tool one more time. And since we're dealing with a second instancing tool, I'm just going to turn this off so that we can append that tulip. So if we select the tulip, we should be here. You notice it's all grown, and I'm just going to reduce the size all the way down. And you'd also notice that in this case, if we try to paint across this, we're painting on the same group. So to avoid that, go over to your object properties, click on the plus sign, double click, have this selected, and then you can come right here and paste it. And once you paste it, you can now switch from your object mode over to your weight painting mode, and you can start making some painting. So it's quite interesting to see that this is here, and the reason why you have all of these options is because this is running natively on the geometry nodes. So this is why, tools like this is quite impressive to have. So once you have this ready, you can now go all the way back, turn this on, and from here, you can start populating your scene. So this is quite interesting to see. And from here, you can, of course, go through and start making some changes. Now, with this out of the way, let's take a look at how you can work with the scattering tool. So the scattering tool itself is a very interesting one to see. So I'm just going to also do the very same thing, scale that all the way up, subdivide this a bit, tap N on the keyboard, go over to next sketch, click right here, and select any of these. So I will select the tree, click on add, click on OK to have that in. And from here, how you work with the scattering tool is a little bit different from how you get to work with the instancing tool. So with the instancing tool, we all know that you have to select it, select the object, click on instance and actually add that object there. But how this one works is slightly different. Select the platform you want, click on add scatter tool, and from here you can start drawing. Now, before you even jump into the drawing section, you would need to have the object selected, and then you need to put it in a container. So I'm just going to call this trees. Actually, let's call it 3 and click on OK. So now that we have that there, if we have this object selected, make sure you have the scattering tool selected, press the tab key, and from here, stay up on the top view, which is the Z-axis, and you can start drawing. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw some stuff. Let's undo that. Draw some stuff like so, maybe up to a point like that. So now that I have that drawing there, if we scroll all the way down, we can click on the word object and apply the tree. Now, once we do that, you would notice that the trees have been applied right over here. So if you're thinking about applying trees and stuff like that, or simply drawing the trees across your viewport on a model, then this is a very good option, and you can of course explore this one. Now, one thing which I would mention is if you're choosing to work with the scatter tool where you have to draw things across your model, I would also suggest that you do not draw so much, especially when you're working with heavy models like this. Don't draw so much because they might throttle your performance, and this is where working with the instancing tool would definitely make more sense. The building tools are relatively easy to work with, as in most cases, you might just simply need to draw. So if you go over to the top view and you select the draw neighborhood, how this one works is very, very simple. You just have to draw. So if you draw a simple box like that, that is what you get. And you can also draw some patterns. And this is pretty easy. So in this case, you now have a neighborhood. And of course, you can go ahead and populate this however you choose. So if you switch over and you take a look at this in cycles, you would notice that this is a model set that is good for distance objects. So if you're trying to create like a horizon where you have like lots of buildings happening there, then this might just simply come in handy. It has some properties as well, which you can use to sort of manipulate how this works. You can also generate different, or should I call this seeding? So you can seed this however you want. And you can also change the face. So right here, you have all of these materials you can use to change the face, and you can make multiple copies and have fun working with this one. Regardless of this, there's also the road tool, which you can use to build roads. So if we create like a serpent path and I try to cross that, and I try to cross this and recross this, you can see that we have a lovely looking road right here. This is fully textured, by the way, so just in case. So you can use this to create some very interesting stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the light and raise it all the way up there, go right over to where we have the light properties, crank this all the way to 10,000. So with the road tool, you can see that we have roads that we can play with. So if you actually have this selected, go over to the properties section, you would also notice that it has like sidewalks, which you can turn off and turn on if you want. You also have like distances, which you can tweak and play with. I would like to see an update where you can expand the road. I think that might be very, very useful. Moving on, the street tool is exactly how the road tool looks like and exactly how the road tool works. But in this case, when you're working with the street tool, you'll be able to have street lights. The street lights can be controlled however you want. And it is also worth knowing that you can make as many drawings as possible just to get exactly the kind of roads that you want. Now, one thing to mention is at several instances, the street tool, when you start working with it, might not be at the origin. So you might probably need to set your own origin to get these things to work better. So more like the other tools that you have with the next sketch, it is also worth knowing that this is also surface based. So once you're sculpting or you're trying to create stuff, it looks at the surface underneath, and that is how it judges where the curves gets to be placed. Now, if you do own a transportation tool or a traffic tool from the folks at Polygonic, you can now easily style your roads and have fun working with it. Working with this alongside with the traffic add-on just simply makes this an easy breeze, as you can proceed to append clouds and also style your scene however you choose. And moving on, there's also some design tools that deals with water, snow, and also ivy. So depending on how you like to work with these ones, you can simply start creating snows and also creating ivies on surfaces as well. Now, finally, I would suggest that if you're thinking about creating snows or ivies or even using the water tool, you need to make sure you are using these independently. If you choose to use these alongside with other ones, you might definitely have a crash. So simply use the snow tool when you're working with the snow tool, exit the edit mode, and then use any other tool as well. So this is more like it. For those who like to get next sketch, you can get it for 15% off. And right now there is also a $1 free version which you can pick up and test out and see some of the amazing things that you can do with it. Meanwhile, there's also some percentage off that is available. Like we talked about in previous videos, the clean panels is right here and it is currently available for 30% off, which you can grab. Run tools is also available for 20% off, which is also extremely nice. You can grab that as well. And for those who like to get some percentage off from the folks at True VFX, there is also the True Asset, which is currently available for 25% off. Finally, if you've been thinking about materials that you might want to work with, Ducky 3D is doing a percentage off, and of course you probably not find this percentage discount code on Blender Market, but if you take a look at the link in the description, you will definitely find that there. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section, and of course if you like this video or you learned something from this, you can go ahead and give a like and don't forget to share with a friend. And until I see you guys in the next one, peace.